Dude. If you guys can believe it, I actually went to school. Not only that, I graduated. Barely. I passed my finals by like 4 points. And that's not a joke. I'm honestly not sure what would have happened if I didn't graduate. I probably would have been making Minecraft videos or something. Wait. Anyway, you don't really care about that, so let's just get into the stories. These aren't going to be in any particular order. I'm just listing off what comes to my mind first. When I was in 11th grade, my friend Jake, yes, that Jake, was really obsessed with punting things. I don't really know why. Jake, why were you so obsessed with punting things in 11th grade?
Have you ever looked at a basketball and wonder, well, that is a stupid sport, and then you're in gym class, and you see the lights above your head. They're annoying, they're bright, and you hate gym class, so you start punting basketballs, and you start hitting lights, and all your friends start laughing their ass off. And you realize punting things are fun, because sometimes things explode. And you punt water bottles, and you punt food. And sometimes when you punt the food, it gets stuck to your school's building, and then the school doesn't clean it up for like a year. That's why I love punting things.
Alright then. The punting phase started when we were in gym class, and when you finished changing in the locker room, you were allowed to go into the gym and wait for the teachers to get there. Well, when you leave Jake unsupervised, something bad is bound to happen. There was a room off the side of the gym called the fitness room, because there was a bunch of equipment in there, including basketballs. You can probably tell where this is going. Jake and I left the locker room, and he grabbed a basketball and punted it straight up, and he broke the ceiling. He broke the ceiling. I almost collapsed to the floor from laughing so much. I don't really remember what happened after that, except that it took over a week to fix it. You remember how at the beginning of the video I said I barely graduated? Well, the main cause of that was because of biology. I failed biology twice, but I have good reasons for both. In 11th grade, I had bio right before lunch, and I was always really tired at that point in the day, so I mainly just slept in that class. That's it. That's the whole story. His nickname was MatPat, and all I could think of when I saw him was...
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory!
Also in my senior year, the teacher was a complete bitch. So, I'm planning on not swearing anymore. Shit. Whatever, she was a bitch. There's no way to explain it other than being that blatant. If you think I'm being biased, she literally had to send home a letter to the parents explaining why she never does a good job teaching. That's real. That's an actual thing that has happened to some poor students. Can I just get serious for a second? Alright, this is a message for all of you that are in high school. Listen, you're not an edgy sunflower because you say stuff like, "Oh, the newscast is so cringy, why do they make us watch this? It isn't even funny." We know. We all know. You aren't cool because you don't like something. The people in the newscast know it's terrible. The newscast teacher knows it's terrible. Also, if you say, "Oh man, this year's newscast sucks," when I'm in that class, it'll actually be good. You poor, sweet, innocent, dumb child. Here's the thing. Every class has said that. Every year, kids think they'll do a better job than the previous year. But as you can tell, they never do it. When all you have is a bunch of 16 to 18-year-olds equipped with a camera, their imagination, and a PG rating, it's pretty difficult to make an Oscar-worthy video. When I was in 4th grade, my gym teacher retired and got replaced by a really overweight, middle-aged woman, and one day she dropped her clipboard while taking attendance, and when she bent down to pick it up, she couldn't reach it, so she kicked it towards a student and asked him to pick it up, and I just stood there thinking, how is this woman allowed to teach the youth of America about fitness? I'm pretty sure everyone had at least one teacher that they were sure was on some sort of government watch list. Well, for me, that teacher was my elementary school music teacher, Mr. Pat. He was in a band and he would play at bars, and he would proceed to get into bar fights and come to school with black eyes. He would also ask us if we had any hot moms. We were in elementary school. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. And to top it all off, he had the stereotypical pedo mustache. I'm pretty sure he wasn't allowed to be near an elementary school, let alone teaching one. I don't know if you guys had to do this, but in my school, from kindergarten to 5th grade, we would have to be in a concert with our entire class, and it would alternate every year between a spring concert and a winter concert. I don't remember much about these, except that in 3rd grade during the winter concert, Mr. Pat selected a few kids from every class, and they got to be hip-hop reindeer during a gangster adaptation of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm not joking. And as you can probably guess, I was chosen to play one of the hip-hop reindeer. I wish I could remember how the song went, but all I remember from that whole ordeal was that we had to wear sweatshirts and baggy pants, and it was only like 6 of us out of the entire grade, and we had to do a gangster-style dance in front of the entire school and everyone's parents. The 6 of us stood at the front of the stage, wearing our sweatshirts and giant pants, with fake antlers and red noses on, and we danced in front of the entire school. I honestly think Mr. Pat picked me to do it because he knew I would somehow look like an outcast in a group of gangster reindeer, because everyone else he picked were the cool kids, and then there was just me. I wasn't exactly a cool kid in 3rd grade. I think he wanted to break me down at a young age, just so I would resort to making YouTube videos for a living. Also, when my brother was singing in one of the concerts, the girl standing in front of him threw up everywhere. Those are the only memories I have of all 6 years of doing that. When I was in 5th grade, my teacher threw a stapler at a student because he wouldn't stop interrupting her. When I was in 4th grade, I was really obsessed with Webkins, but I'll talk about that in another video. And when I brought one of my Webkins to school, some girl stole it. That's it, that's the whole story. If you ever see this, Elizabeth, I'm still mad. Alright, this next story is going to take a bit of explaining, but sit tight because the twist at the end is amazing. During my senior year, I needed a lot of credits in order to graduate, so I took as many classes as possible. One of those classes being ceramics. It was just about as boring as you might expect. Up until the last few weeks. Basically, we had to make a jar with a face on it. Sounds simple, right? It was. I made one, and I turned it in to be put in the kiln, and pretty much forgot about it because our teacher would only run projects through it like twice a month. Well, when it finally came out of the kiln, I realized I forgot to put my initials on the bottom of it. That's what you're supposed to do so nobody steals your projects. Well, apparently some girl in another period made an identical mug because she started complaining that I stole her project. When the teacher asked me about it, I of course denied these slanderous claims and went on with my life. While the girl didn't seem to forget about it because she went to the principal about it. And the principal believed her. He said if it was true that I stole it, I wouldn't be able to walk at graduation. That's a big deal. Over a ceramic jar. Luckily, I had eyewitnesses to help prove to the principal that it was, in fact, my jar. This whole thing got so bad that the girl's 20-year-old brother, who was in college, threatened my life over it. I was 17, and he was trying to beat up a minor. It was a ceramic jar! I feel like I need to keep saying that. Well, after a few days, the principal called me back in to apologize to me and say that he believed me. And the principal told me that I would still be able to walk at graduation, and I felt justice that day. Well, sadly, the story doesn't end there. In the ceramics class, we each had our own individual shelves that we would put our projects on so that they wouldn't be messed with throughout the day by the other classes. Well, at the end of the year, I went to go clean out my shelf, and on it, I found my jar. If you aren't freaking out about this, let me just reiterate. My life was threatened because I was accused of stealing this girl's jar, and I went through all the trouble to prove my innocence, only to find out that I actually did in fact steal her jar. My close friends who held eyewitness testimonies about this don't even know about this. I never told anyone. I didn't know what to do, so I just threw it on the ground and cleaned up the shattered pieces. So to my friends watching this, I'm sorry, but I did in fact steal the ceramic jar. But I didn't realize that I stole it, so that has to mean something, right?
Do you guys remember Parker?
Whatever happened to him?
He went to a religious school.
Oh.
It was probably because he wanted to cleanse his soul after I pounded it.
What?
That's how the joke started, just between the 3 of us. But someone had to go and tell our other friends, and acted as if what I said was real. Just a bit of backstory. Parker was my best friend in middle school, who left the school district in 8th grade to go to a religious school. Basically, nobody really knew what happened to him, because he never told anyone that he was leaving. He just kinda did. Hell, I was his best friend and didn't know what happened to him until about halfway through 11th grade. 3 years after he left. And during my senior year, I was on OC with some of my friends, and Parker got mentioned at some point, and I just decided, I'm gonna fuck with these people. And I came up with the story that Parker and I had sex in the bathroom of our middle school. It was funny at the time, alright? Or maybe it wasn't. Well, after I told them the fake story, and was honestly a little upset that it was so believable, but oh man, we'll get into that later, I decided to tell them that I was joking. But one of them didn't care and decided to tell the rest of our friend group the story. Only problem was, he didn't say it wasn't true. And one of our friends, and I'm not naming names, Connor, cannot keep his mouth shut. And Connor took it upon himself to tell everyone about this little story. From random people in the hallway to fucking teachers. He had to tell everyone. And once again, I was kind of insulted that it was so believable. And if you're thinking,
Paul, why didn't you just tell everyone it wasn't true?
Well, first off, nobody would believe me. If that doesn't sound right, you don't know the people I went to school with. Second, the story had become so widespread that people I had literally never seen before were asking me about it. Also, how the hell would I tell people about it? Would I just go on the morning announcements and say, "Hey, yeah, I didn't fuck Parker in middle school"? I don't think that would go over well. And for those wondering what Parker thought about the whole situation, I couldn't tell you, because I'm not sure if he heard about it. And if he did, he didn't ask me about it. I have not talked to him in 5 years. So, for those of you named Parker, who lived in northern Pennsylvania, and had a best friend named Paul in middle school, maybe I'm talking about you. Who knows?